Today I messed up losing my dog's trust completely. It rained all day a few days ago. There are puddles of stagnant water all over the place because it rarely rains this time of year and my country sucks at cleaning up. Where there is stagnant water, there are mosquitoes, so yesterday my bedroom was completely saturated with them, constant buzzing near and far. Anyway, sleep seemed to be an impossible feat and I had just run out of repellent, so somehow in all that buzzing and darkness I had to endure all that buzzing and stinging so I can sleep and go to work. I was flailing like a madman trying to get them, and my dog sensed that I was distressed and slightly brushed up against my arm. I didn't think, so I slammed my arm hoping it was a mosquito, launching my tiny doggo halfway across the room yelping and whimpering. She ran out of my room and hid somewhere. The next day, I was hoping my dog would be over that, but she won't touch her breakfast. Damn. Too long. Didn't read. Thought my dog was a mosquito, slammed her across the room, and now she's depressed and won't eat. I broke my doggo. Update, got back, she is alive and well. Eating, playing, generally as happy as always. I'll keep a close eye on her for unusual behavior for the next few days. Today I messed up by accidentally bribing a TSA agent. So, for the context of this story to understand how I even got into this situation, I recently finished my graduate degree at a university only about an hour away from the town where my parents live. After finishing, I got a job and moved a few hundred miles away, which meant my relationship with my girlfriend from grad school became long distance. So last Wednesday I flew home for Thanksgiving, and naturally, being so close to my school, my girlfriend came up to my parents' home and visited. Yesterday we drove her car to a breakfast place in the morning before she had to return to school. For whatever reason I drove us back to my parents' house, during which my wallet fell in between the cracks of the driver's seat and my girlfriend's car, unbeknownst to me. Unfortunately, I didn't realize my wallet was missing until early this morning as I was preparing to head to the airport for my flight home. By the time I realized where it was far too late to go and get it, so I had to go to the airport without my wallet or license. Luckily, I had my passport with me, so I figured I'd just go to the airport anyways and have my girlfriend mail me my wallet later. Okay, so now we're all caught up. I put my jacket on and hop in the car, as my dad offers to drive me to the airport. When he drops me off, he kindly hands me a $20 bill and says, "I know you don't have any money with you at the moment, so take this in case you need it." He's a great dad. The jacket I'm wearing has one of those breast zipper pockets, so I fold it up and zip it in there for safekeeping. After I get inside, check in, and walk over to the TSA security line, I take out my passport from my backpack and absent-mindedly unzip my breast pocket and slide the passport in for easy access. Once I get to the agent that checks both your boarding pass and ID before entering the security checkpoint, I unzip my pocket, pull out my passport, and confidently hand it to the lady sitting at her podium. After I scan my ticket, I don't pay too much attention as she inspects the passport, but I do notice she does a quick double take. She then says "oh" in a slightly confused sort of tone. Now, my passport is quite old, set to expire in early 2020, and I am in need of renewing it. Consequently, the picture is of a much younger looking me. Therefore, I automatically assume she's worried about how close it is to expiring and the visual discrepancy between my photo ID and my real face. It is at this point I decide to say to her, like an absolute goon, "I know I don't look like that anymore, but you can see the resemblance, right?" Of course I was trying to joke around a bit, but her face went immediately from slightly confused to having none of it. She then asked, "Sir, is this you or not?" My heart jumped a bit and I replied, "Yes it is." She then quickly looked around, and with a flustered look shoved my passport back at me and said, "Here, just take it back." I took my ticket and the passport from her outstretched arm, still a bit perplexed, and said thank you, then began approaching the checkpoint. It was only once I started to put my passport back that I saw with a mortifying realization that there was the $20 bill my dad had given me, neatly folded and sticking out of the main page of the closed passport in my hand. It was then it all became far too clear to me what I had just done. I looked back at the TSA agent that had screened me, who was definitely still staring at me incredulously. I was panicking at this point, and in a moment of terror I lifted up my passport, still with the money in it, and waved it around like an idiot, loudly saying I didn't mean to. She quickly turned around again and called up another passenger. I walked through the rest of TSA terrified I was about to be detained. Too long. Didn't read. I accidentally put a $20 in my 10-year-old, nearly expired passport, handed it to the TSA agent at the airport as ID, and said I hope you can see the resemblance like a criminal edit, added paragraphs and fixed typos. Today I messed up by meal prepping for my boyfriend. We're in Canada. He works shift work in the oil sands, I work a 9 to 5. We like to eat clean and work out. My boyfriend came home late last night, then we worked out together in our basement gym. Right before bed, he noticed that there wasn't any chicken prepped for meals today. It was already late and I didn't have to wake as early as him, we are usually up at 5 a.m., so I offered to put the chicken in the oven, set an alarm, then wake up to take it out and make his meals. Solid plan. We got ready for bed and I set my alarm for 12:30 a.m. I figured that was enough time for our massive tray of protein to bake to perfection. Mid-coma, my alarm went off and I zombie walked to the kitchen, completely out of it. I prepped his meals with my eyes closed, gave myself a pat on the back and went to bed again. Boyfriend was happy this morning, rested, all is good in the world. Until about an hour ago I got a call from a random number stating that it seems my 6 feet 4 inches giant of a boyfriend is at work, balls deep in the porcelain bowl puking and shitting himself, and is in no way able to drive a vehicle. And because of COVID he has to leave immediately. When I pick him up, I guess he was working on a shortage and didn't have access to any electricity. So he couldn't heat up, nor see his chicken, rice and avocado dish. I looked at his half-eaten container and realized the chicken was pink as shit and I poisoned the love of my life. Not only did he miss 3/4 of his workday, but he can't go back until he tests negative for COVID. Too long. Didn't read. I made my boyfriend test positive for food poisoning, and now he can't go back to work until he tests negative for Rona.